Alright, welcome back to another video on how to become a business consulting freelancer. Specifically, looking at how to conduct a proper research and gather quality data. I'm going to make a quick recap of this section, and by starting at data, right? So this is something very powerful because it can help you to inform, persuade, or reinforce your point of view, but also can be misleading. So, especially when you're conducting a research for a consulting project, it's important to know the most and least valuable source of data, right? So you have the data that comes from the company, which is the most valuable, the first party data. You might or not, depending on the case, sign an NDA agreement. And once you do that, you can see, you can get their historical data, as far back data as they have, to see what they have done in the past, how they have been performing, and how you can provide your suggestions. Then you look at the second party data, right? This is from trust sources. They are not anonymous. And you may have to pay or not depending on the use case. But the thing here is that these trust sources have a great record of research report, peer review, and the least valuable is from aggregate sources, right? Sources where the quality of their sources is not always verified, so you cannot know who the author really is, and they might be behind a paywall as well. And then look at how to conduct a research from a broad perspective. Okay, and first is look at things from different perspectives. Play devil advocate with yourself, because things are not black and white. Second, gather relevant quality data and take notes and keep record of every source you obtain, and then you qualify the data. So for example, if you're looking for data on a website, or recently from ChatGPT, okay, check the source and the quality of this data. So with other sources, where does this data come from? Who made that? Who's the author that are supporting what ChatGPT mentioned? And then don't forget to circle back with the client to get more data. Okay, that's good, because now then I look at case study, which is conducting a research. Paul Mendes provide a guideline of how he does that from the marketing perspective. So by looking at the Truth website, first he do is understand what they offer, all the products and service, and then you go into the specific. Look at the categories, the pricing, how much they charge, the company review, what makes this company unique, and then is when you go to the first party data, if you can have access to that, to see, what they have done in the past, how they have been performing, and what you can provide your suggestions and how you can do that. So once you conduct the research from their website brand, their product and service, how much they charge, then you look now at the competitor analysis, and this is when you look at who the other players in that industry are. And that includes players in which you want to know what they're doing, how they're doing, what you can learn from them and take notes and keyword from that, because that is what the next step is, the keyword research, where now based on the analysis you made on the from the competitor analysis, you're going to use some keyword tools, right, from Google or whatever keyword tool you want or you plan to use to get a clear idea of what's going on in that industry. Okay, and then on top of that, that is when you're gonna use and make a research from a broad perspective, looking at the worst news to get some real feedback, to get also data up to date for that. Uh, so now, once you do that, you ask yourself, everything that I have researched, what is most likely to work today? Okay, and that include is look at the how this industry is adapting to regulations and where this industry is going. So then, in my case, I made a practice here, okay, specifically on how to conduct a research, but for a e-commerce and how you can build that using web tools like Vue for the UI, Nox for the web development, and Strapi for store the state of your application and record the process. Something that I'm going to do that later. So first of all, I need to know what an e-commerce is. Okay, so according to Amazon, this is a transaction of good and service. If your bustling city center or your brick and mortar shop convert into zeros and one on the superhighway internet or on the internet superhighway, okay, and the funny thing of this is that lead us is to what mentioned Spotify about this. While e-business refers to all aspects of operating an online business, e-commerce specifically refers to the transaction of goods and service. And with that, then I look at the different e-business types or business model, okay? And first identifies the entity involved in this ecosystem, the business, governments, and consumers. But the first example is the business to consumers, and this is the widely common business model, all right? Such as online retailers like Amazon, Target, or Walmart. Digital marketplace where now consumers purchase or sell goods to uh, individual or small business such as Etsy or eBay. Streaming or subscription service such as food delivery order or online streaming like Netflix or Spotify. Consumers can book a flight, a hotel, or online car in place like Expedia, Booking.com, or Airbnb, and food ordering and online delivery, right? So consumers can order food to restaurant online in place like Grubhub, specifically to the US, the DoorDash or Uber Eats, right? The other business model is the business to business. This is somewhat interesting to me because I barely know what are the most common example of that, such as digital marketplace, where now business create a marketplace for business to purchase and sell good and service. Okay, you have Amazon Business, Alibaba, and eBay Business. They're traditionally transactions or Traditionally, paperwork like invoice or a purchase order that were traditionally made on paper, now it is done electronically through EDI systems, the electronic data interchange. Okay, for example, IBM provider supplier portals for very large business. They set up online supply portals to streamline their supply chain and procuremental process that involves the purchase or sale at scale to get a good bid, to put it simple, uh, such as the Walmart Supply Marwell, the Walmart Supply Center, or the SAP Arriva network. Another example is wholesale e-commerce, where now manufacturers and distributors sell product to their business or to business, such as Granger or Uline, in business-to-business payment solution. Stripe or PayPal provide a payment gateway or a platform for business to receive and send money. Then I look something where I am currently now, okay, which is the consumer to business, where now is the consumers that provide their service to business, such as freelance work, website design, or web development, graphic design, freelance writing in platforms like Upwork, Fiverr, Toptal, or Freelancer. Consumers can also participate in paid online servers such as SurveyMonkey. Consumers can also raise funds for their ideas or projects like crowdfunding in places like Indiegogo, Kickstarter, user generated content, where now consumers sell digital content to business like image, video, audio, in places like Shutterstock, iStocks, or Audio Jungle from Envato. And lastly but not least is the reverse auction, where now consumers set up price quota for products in a reverse auction with a business, right? You have like name your price or price line. This is something interesting because, well, right now I'm currently on the uh, consumer to business model, right? I'm offering my service and I need to improve my offering as well to bring their value, okay, based on the things that I know and that I'm capable of. So the other business models are the government to business, the government to consumers, and the consumer to government. The first two is very, very interesting because it can broaden your perspective, especially in how these two entities, the government, or at least for most common examples, okay, the government, the business, and the consumers, how they interact with each other. Specifically, the business and consumers, how they interact with governments. Okay, all of this data is according from ChatGPT. Okay, examples come from ChatGPT. All right, because, for example, in the government to business, you have procuremental portals where now government agency provide an online platforms for business to bid on government contracts, such as the FBO, the Federal Business Opportunity on the US, or the UK Contract Finder Service. Tax payment or tax filing and payment. So now government agency provide is the tax filing and payment system On the US, you have is the electronic federal tax payment system, and in the UK, you have is the HM Revenue and Customs, the Her Majesty Revenue and Customs, Her Majesty. In any case, governments or particularly business can now apply to licensing and permits such as food service or building permits. Also, um, yeah, also governments facilitate so provide online service to facilitate cross-border trade, custom clearance, and international trade. So, for example, electronic custom clearance uh, or export declarations and business registration or incorporation, where now business can register. Okay, so government provide an online platform for business to register in place like the SBA, Small Business Administration on the US, or the Company House on the UK. And when it comes to how the government provides service to the customer, you have these tax payment portals, right? Where now governments offer or government agency provides an online platform to citizens or for citizens to pay their taxes, like IRS, the Internal Revenue Service on the US, or the HM Revenue and Custom in the UK. Vehicle registrations and licensing. So many governments provide or many governments allow citizens to register and renew their vehicles and registration licenses. Vehicle registrations online, such as DMV, the Department Motor Vehicle, California, USA, or the driver vehicle licensing agency on the UK. The driver and vehicle license agency on the UK. Okay, so example of government to consumer is tax payments portals, vehicle registration and licensing, passport applications online, or passport applications and renewal. Okay, yeah, passport applications and renewal. So some governments allow citizens to apply for or renew their application passport or their passport online. Again, recap of this because this is something new to me. So passport applications and renewal. So governments allow citizens to renew. Sorry. So some governments allow citizens. Yeah, some governments allow citizens to apply for or renew their passport online, such as the Department State Passport Service on the US. So the US Department Passport, the US Department State Passport Service, or the UK Government Official Passport Service. Okay. So you have the US Department, okay. You got is the US Department State Passport. Okay. Cool. Cool. You got the US Department State Passport Service and the UK Government Agency. I think it's agency in the UK in the UK Government's Official Passport Service. So I think I see a common pattern here in the US that I love to use the term department. Okay, or anything related to government, you know. Whereas the UK love to use the term government or office. Okay, UK government official passport service. Then I look at the online bill payment, where now many governments provide online payment options for utility bills such as water, electricity, tax, proprietary tax, and other government fees. Okay, so online bill payments. So many governments provide payment options. Many governments provide online payment options for citizens. Jesus, online bill and payment. So many governments provide online service. Yeah, many governments provide online payment service options for utility bills such as electricity, water, property taxes, property taxes, and other government fees. Then you have birth and death certificate ordering, where now governments allow their citizens to order birth and death certificates online, such as the UK Government General Register Office. Okay, the UK Government General Register Office. UK Government General Register Office. This is if you want to ask for, or this is if you want to order, exactly, birth and death certificate, marriage, civil partnership, stillbirth, and adoption in England and Wales. Wales. England and Wales. Okay. The UK General Registry Office. The UK Government General Registry Office. Or the US National Center for Health and Statistics. The US National Center. No, what the fuck? The US National Health. The US National Center for Health Statistics. Mm. Mm. Yeah, and I'm slowing down here is because it just wants to grasp this. It wants to really understand this example. And if I have to talk to any salesman, businessman, whatever, about what type of business can we outlaw, or if for some reason we reach to a point to have to talk about this business model, well, I can tell you that, right? So according to ChatGPT, blah 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 blah, right? You have different business models or type of e-commerce, right? Such as the business to consumers, the most widely business model used, business to business, consumer to business, government to business. Very very interesting. The example of that: government to consumers and consumer to and consumer to government. Okay, so after that, okay, so where and how does e-commerce takes place? Because first I look at what is an e-commerce, what are the type of e-commerce, and where and how does an e-commerce takes place? Okay, and where and how does e-commerce takes place? You have mobile e-commerce, enterprise e-commerce, and social media e-commerce. So there is a huge majority of people that wants to create mobile e-commerce responsive with very short user interface feedback delay in their process. So where and how does e-commerce takes place? You have e-commerce, enterprise e-commerce, and social media e-commerce. Okay, and this is the most common place where and in how e-commerce takes place on the mobile e-commerce, the mobile ecosystem, the mobile enterprise or social media e-commerce. Whereas that's right. So then I look at the competitor analysis. Okay, so all right. So after I conduct the research, gather quality data, also very important, gather relevant data. Okay, check always the source from this data you're getting. Especially for when you talk about the example, it comes from ChatGPT. When it comes about the definition of that of the e-commerce, it comes from Shopify and Amazon. Uh, and where and how does e-commerce takes place? M-commerce, enterprise e-commerce, and social media e-commerce. So then, because I cannot have access to the first-party data of all of this e-commerce, okay, then I look at the competitor analysis, okay, to know who the other players in that industry are in the e-commerce, such as Amazon, Alibaba, Shopify, IKEA, Walmart, and eBay. Okay, so from the Indeed career advice development companies, top e-commerce. Okay, so from Indeed. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Influencer marketing hub. Mm, 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 mm. For how long you have been around? That's the question here. Hmm. Yeah, but for how long? Statista. Influencer marketing. Market size worldwide from 2016 to 2022 in billion dollars. Influencer marketing market size. Okay, I get it. Started account is in any case. I only gonna take in consideration the this right. I'm gonna take in consideration this top e-commerce from that. So what are e-commerce? Online, physical good, digital products, service, affiliates. Type of e-commerce: business to consumers, business to business, consumer to consumers, consumer to business, right? Type of e-commerce: where do an e-commerce business sells their goods and service? Conversational e-commerce, e-commerce marketplace, or branded e-commerce store, or in the mobile. top e-commerce company: Amazon, Walmart, Alibaba, Facebook, Microsoft, Apple, eBay, Liberty Interactive Corporation, Shopify, and Jingdong. So this is to understand their competitors, okay? To understand what they're doing and see what can I learn from them, okay? To understand what they're doing and see what I can learn from them. So Amazon thought it started in 1994 as an e-commerce marketplace for books. Amazon has evolved into an online shopping staple. It is best known for its online marketplace where consumers and businesses can purchase physical goods. But in recent years, it has expanded to offer digital product and subscription service as well. Namely, you can purchase an Amazon Prime subscription to gain access to online streaming service, among others. So this is what I'm going to do on the competitor analysis. Okay, it is funny because they include Alibaba. Okay, thought it started in 1994. Okay, Amazon is a North American multinational technology corporate focusing on e-commerce, cloud computing, online advertising, digital streaming, and artificial intelligence. That it started as a yeah that it started mhm, as an e-commerce that it started in 1994 as a e-commerce as an e-commerce marketplace for books. hmm Okay, it started in 1994 as an e-commerce marketplace for book. When I look at the Alibaba here, hmm 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 a Chinese competitor of Amazon started in 1999 by Jack Ma by Jack by Jack Ma by Jesus fucking Christ. Uh, the founder of what is the name of the founder of Amazon? Jesus, Jeff Bezos. What the hell? Jeff Jeff Bezos. Then you have Shopify. Then you have Shopify. When this was found, my friend, Total gross merchandise volume exceeds la la la, but when this was found, Shopify was founded in 2006 by Tobias Lutke. Of the Ruby on Rails framework has created open source libraries such as Active Merchant. Interesting. Very, very fucking interesting. Ruby on Rails. That's the reason why a lot of people are in there with that. Snow Devil. An online store for snowboarding equipment. Dissatisfied with the existing e-commerce product on the market, Lud, a computer programmer by trade, instead built his own. Lud used an open-source web application framework, Ruby on Rails, to build Snow Devil online store and launched it after 2 months of development. The Snow Devil founders launched the platform as Shopify in June 2006. Shopify created an open-source template language called Liquid, which is written in Ruby and used since 2006. In June 2009, Shopify launched an application programming interface, an app store. The API allows developers to create applications to Shopify online store and then sell them on the Shopify App Store. Funny. 2006. Okay. 2006. Founded in 2006 by Tobias Lutke. I think it's Tobias Lutke. And Scott Lake. IKEA. When it was found, 1943. Holy shit. Founded in 1943. In 1943. By Ingvar Kamprad. How the fuck do you pronounce that? Fyodor Ingvar Kamprad. Fyodor by Fyodor Ingvar Kamprad. Okay. Walmart is a North American multinational. So that'll be all for this video. Take care. Bye bye.